A nice touch before the game between two of the game statesmen, Jobe Watson and Adam Goodes. After a tumultuous week for the Sydney superstar, opening quarter at the SCG sees the Swans with a 2-goal advantage, 3-4-22 to Essendon, 1-4-10. Young Tom Mitchell in for his first game as the sub, the fifth father-son at the Swans. Of course, the son, Ruzi, who you know very well, of Barry Mitchell, who was one of the stars for the Swans in the 80s.
Yeah, fantastic. Barry Mitchell I know well. Tommy Mitchell actually stayed with the Roos family for a while there, and Barry, you can see his numbers, played for Sydney, Collingwood and Carlton, was a star, played State of Origin football.
You would have played with and against him, wouldn't you?
With and against him. Terrific player, Barry Mitchell, just courageous, fit.
Massive tank.
Yeah, massive tank, just kept on running all day, every day. It's a very skillful player. Probably an unsung player at the Sydney Swans, but certainly his son Tommy, terrific young kid. As I said, he stayed with myself before, just after he was announced father-son, before he came to Sydney. Terrific young kid. I did beat him in basketball in the driveway too, Jace. So that's why he was a good basketballer, but he turned to football after I towed him up in donkey in the driveway.
Turned 20 yesterday, I think, too.
He did. It was his birthday. Yes, it was. No, really good kid. Works extremely hard. Look, he's had a lot of injuries and been a frustrating sort of 12, 18 months, but he works hard. Ryan O'Keefe versus Watson's been a terrific battle too, Jace.
And for the first time now, we've got uneven numbers at each end. So there's a loose at each end. Sydney have gone with 7 defenders.
So the Bombers on the road, we talked about their much improved record in the past couple of years. Well, earlier this year, they were down by 2 goals at quarter time in round 1 against Adelaide, came back and won, and in round 3, they were also down after the opening quarter and got 5 goals down against Freo, but came back to win. So it's going to be a familiar tale for them if they're going to get the points this afternoon. McGlinda half for Tommy Welsh. He's hurt himself there.
Yeah, I think he's done his knee there, Hudder.
Knee hamstring.
Hamstring.
Left hamstring. It looks like a bad one. He's going to come straight from the ground. Trainers are out there. It may even be off the bone there, boys. It looks like a really nasty one.
And he nearly handled it super cleanly again in the wet. He's been so close to it tonight.
Smith out to the wing. We're going to see Tom Mitchell sooner than we thought you would suspect after that. Fletcher.
Just the old chest mark in these conditions, Jason. I know people talk about taking it in the hands, and probably not a lot of talk around him. I wouldn't have thought. He had plenty of time and just would have taken it. There he is.
He can't put any weight on that leg at all, boy. He's in all sorts of trouble, Walsh, here.
He almost hyperextended his leg as well, didn't he?
Jeez, he was lucky he didn't do his knee also. If he's done a hamstring, that was...
Well, when you overstretch like that, something has to give, doesn't it?
That could be a serious hamstring though, Ruzi.
Yeah,
have a look at the left leg. It just snaps straight there, and he's just popped a string by the look of it.
Yeah, that stride there.
You can hear the crowd groaning with every replay. So, might change things a little. 12 points the difference. Back to the wing, Dempsey. Had mounted a bit of a charge out of defence. He's such a key player for them.
He's actually being carried into the rooms now. This is a serious injury now for Tommy Walsh, unfortunately.
Well, that's a shame.
It is.
It's a shame. I mean, we were looking forward to seeing Tom Mitchell when he came on, but we are going to see him earlier than expected and earlier than anyone wanted to, unfortunately, under those circumstances.
Just his 5th game, Tommy Welsh, just his 2nd of the season. Been hard going for him. Hooker drops one. No mark you can count on at the moment. Could have been high contact on Goodes. Morton found a way through the legs of Myers. Spills to McGlynn. He saw Kennedy, I reckon, out of the corner of his eye. Couldn't quite get it to him.
Just getting so much out of their half-backs, the Swans. Chelsea's had 11 possessions and McVeigh's had 9. They've had 20 between them. As we see Tommy Mitchell now warming up, you think he'd be on pretty quickly. And I suspect he'd play a little bit in the half forward, but also in the midfield rotations. They're really good around the stoppages. These conditions are going to really suit Tommy Mitchell.
I was going to say, Ruzi, I mean, if there's a day when you're forced to lose it at all to be placed by a small, this is it, isn't it?
And he's very, very clean. He's very hard around the contest. He's got good hands. So even these conditions will suit him.
Looks like he fit right in the Sydney midfield, Ruzi, with the type of player he is.
Yeah, absolutely, yep.
Watson trying to break and really urge his team on. It's hard for anyone to have a real impact on this game. It's very much to be said about territory. Heppel knows it. Back to the wing. Grundy beaten to the punch again. Gambleton, Watson. tried to adapt as he was falling to the ground.
It's interesting, Roosy. Lewis Jetta is still yet to touch the footy, and he's still matched up with Heppel at this stage. Now, Heppel's not paying extra close attention to him. They're actually running wide, but Jetta just hasn't been able to get on the end of it yet.
It's probably not the sort of game that's going to suit him. It's a real stop-start, sort of quick kick out of stoppage type game. But equally, it's one of those games that he only has to have 5 or 6 really telling possessions and could break the game right open. So Heppel really needs to keep an eye on him.
Well, one breakaway goal could be very telling. There's a free kick going to Stanton. Plenty of instructions for him. One was to kick it to Leroy Jetta, but McVeigh, he could see the instructions as well. Goods, did he duck into that a little bit? Oh, now there's a scrap on. Perhaps lucky not to give away the free there, Goods.
He put Carlisle down.
Here's Zaharakis. It beckoned for him, the goals, but the kick, no connection at all there.
There was a little bit of niggle in this.
This looks
stoppage, there was a bit going on, and just here you just see the old Jackie Chan over the top there. Then Goodsy comes back with a bit of right hand.
A little bit of frustration on that, Kingy, because Goodsy's only had 2 possessions as well, so he's used to seeing a lot more of the footy than that.
Malcheski sinks it right out to half back, and in the battle of wills, Hooker takes the mark. Was able to see off Big Mumford pretty successfully. And Goddard didn't like anything ahead. So Stanton, as they thought they were going to work around the ring, but instead he drives it long and wide, and Parker takes it out.
Possession number 13 for Brent Stanton, but unfortunately he's not hurting the Swans with him at the moment.
12 kicks and 1 handball too.
Yeah, they're such a disciplined side, the Swans. I mean, they're really good around the structures, the throw-ins, the ball-ups. The defence is very good at supporting each other.
That was Cranberry's best effort so far. Was so near to holding on to the mark.
The other thing the Swans do as good as anyone, if not better, is they release from the stoppage, Chase. So you can see here, even though it was a stoppage that was won by Essendon, the first guys to get back to help are generally the Swans midfielders.
Well, Richards read it well for the Melton kick, but he didn't take the mark, so the door was still ajar. Windlick, was that eye contact? Ooh.
I thought he did really well, Craig Bird. He just stood up.
That could have been holding the ball.
Had to be holding the ball, I would have thought.
Malcheski fends it away.
Unless he got a kick on it, but he certainly had prior opportunity.
Have a look at. I thought Craig Bird was really clever here. He stopped, and it was actually Comma coming into him. So that's why the umpire didn't pay it. That's the best way to approach it. Don't put any pressure on the player down with his head over the footy, because you will give a free kick away.
So we've seen some of them paid even like that this year, though.
But I reckon the umpire's getting better at reading who's initiating that contact.
Do you think the conditions actually affect the umpire's calls on a day like today?
I think it's easy to let it go a little bit.
I think so.
McVeigh swings it out to the wing, and again the challenge set down for Everett and Dempsey to run and try and power forward. First go good from Everett, second not so good.
Unlucky. Look, he's made 70 or 80 metres in territory there. He just needed that to stay on the ground and force a stoppage at half forward.
Everett to Hooker. Stanton's got away again. He's quite deep in defence still.
Not easy finding out who's on Stanton at the moment.
Watson just came off the bench. And eventually his voice was heard. Paid.
Starting to cause some problems, Brent Stanton. Up to the 14 disposals and almost 350 metres gained, which is really putting some territory into this battle. They need to look to take a tag shortly.
Yeah, it's a good question as to whether he is having that impact. Those numbers would suggest he is, Kingy, so
it's just the effectiveness of the kicking is down a little bit.
McVeigh was going to sweep the handball to Malcheski, decided to go by foot in the end of Jack. Again, not the first touch, but the second. Remained composed, put it out in front of McGlynn. There was a little bit of contact, not enough. Morton, with Walsh down, he's got a pretty important role to play for Sydney now for the rest of the game. Hanbury, just not Jetta's day yet.
Now
he's waved on. He can stroll into goal.
But missed the sitter. And that comes from not having touched the agate. He finally gets a break, runs into an open goal and blows it. That'll be disappointing. And that's one that really should have been marked down in the books, head back to the centre for the next bounce.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't miss too many of those. I'll tell you who is creating headaches, Kingy, and that's for the Essendon Football Club, is McVeigh and Malcheski. They're absolutely doing what they like up a half-back flank. 23 disposals between them.
Jetta maybe getting the feel for it now. Goes again, puts the head down. Got the footy through. Kennedy took it from Everett. Anyone's ball in there. Dempsey shut it down effectively and was able to change defence perhaps into attack for the Bombers. Patience shown by Zaharakis. Now the little flick to Hibbert, who's got a powerful foot, but he's asking a lot of his teammates. Gumbleton came when he needed to. Good physical efforts once and again. Goddard, that was
nearly out the full. I thought he kicked it out of his fingers, but it must have just come off the fingertips.
Game's waiting for someone from Essendon to take a risk and run and carry and try and create some overlap. I know that the crowd's roaring as the young fella comes on to make his debut. Tommy Mitchell, good luck to him.
Ryder, Hanbury, he's finding the going a bit tougher today with a close shadow.
And that's what happens when you play that well.
Jack.
Oh, he slipped over Morton as he was leading.
And Fletcher, wouldn't say panic, but he just knew that there was urgency about that. He had to get it out of his area, which he did. McVeigh, they can't repel this time. Myers, a genuine one-on-one, tough for Richards. He's got out the back window leg. Thought about going off the ground. Now he has to go to work again. Brought it into Bellchambers. Cramery, good touch. He's hit it through. It's a goal.
Yeah, Winderley could be the one. If the ball's on the ground, what the Essendon need to do, Jace, is get more even number contests inside. When they are getting an even number contest, which is very, very rare, they're going okay with it. So we see one Winderley and Teddy Richards one-on-one. We see another one-on-one and then another one-on-one. So we're not just seeing that often enough for Essendon. Equal numbers, whether it's a 1 versus 1, a 2 versus 2, or 3 versus 3. So when they are getting it, they're generally having a shot at goal.
Margin back to 6 points. Ryder in the ruck, gets the tap down. Hawkson helping it forward. Bombers kicking the first goal since the 19-minute mark of the first quarter. It had been a while for both sides, so these goals are so important this afternoon in a low scorer. 3-5-23 plays 2-5-17. Stuart Cramery's first kick of the day, a goal. He has 4 kicks for the day and kicks 4 goals.
He'd be very happy.
Big job done. Ryder comes from the side. Couldn't get past Mumford. Again, kicking out of the air off the ground seems to be the vogue at the moment. Some of it was Parker that was able to help his team to another 40 metres along the line.
The other thing we're starting to see now is maybe Fletcher just dropping off a little bit. I see the back of the stoppage here. You can see Fletcher just sneaking out. So it looks like they're starting to say now, we're not going to give the Swans even numbers inside their forward 50.
So the Swans extra Roosie is at the stoppage.
Stoppage, yeah.
So they have a better chance of getting it out, but if they get it in there, there's an extra bomber to deal with.
Yeah, you see Dustin Fletcher, once again, he's off the back here, sliding back up, probably trying to work out who he's on, and this will be a bit of a battle. Now, I think Tommy Mitchell's actually, so he's coming up to Jude Bolton, he's getting dragged out.
Just spread things out a bit then, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Mumford brings it again to the floor. Nelson goes in hard. O'Keefe looking for a free. Parker squirts it out for another 30 metres. Big Mike picks it up. Pike's handball. They've worked it all like Tom Mitchell. His first kick. It was a fair thump around the corner.
Now, it's interesting, a couple of things there, Jace. The way Tom Mitchell released from that stoppage, but that spot where the ball went to, Jace, was where Fletcher was before. Yeah. So that's the game within the game. Does James Hird allow Fletcher to drop off Mitchell or Jude Bolton? We know both those players are very good stoppage players. Obviously, Mitchell's a young player, but you can see he's got a nose for the football.
And at that last stoppage, it was back to one-on-one.
It was,
I don't think John Longmire wants to allow the Bombers to have that spare out the back, because I'm not sure that an extra at the stoppage in these conditions is going to be that beneficial.
I agree. If I was James Hird, I'd definitely be dropping a Fletcher off back inside and just backing. The Swans are pretty good at stoppages anyway, whether they're one up or one down.
But Jude Bolton's clever. He only goes halfway.
Yeah, halfway.
Where Fletcher's got to go up with him, and then he tries to drag him further out.
McGlynn made the running and opened his eyes to see the top of the square where things had just opened up a little bit. Under pressure, the young fella comes out though. Smith works it to McVeigh. Deep towards the forward pocket. Pike trying to push his way into the path, but it's over the line and out of bounds.
McVeigh's the other one they need to really put some time into. See Mitch Morton. McVeigh's up to 15 off a half-back flank. They almost need to put a hard tag on him now, because he's the one that's really running amok off half-back.
Bolton, he could see some space between the goals and where he was, and so could O'Keefe. He just put it through with great expertise. The Swans answer.
It's not easy. It looks easy what Ryan O'Keefe just did, but to have those evasive tactics in a congested stoppage like that, he picks up the ball and then he just holds it. He runs around Carlisle, who is going to smother it. It's not easy when there's bodies everywhere. It's really good goal sense, and it's good awareness of what's right in your vicinity. Ten possessions for Ryan O'Keefe now, with a goal next to his name.
And there we see the scores from stoppages, 2-3 to 1 point. So they're clearly winning the stoppages and they're scoring from stoppages. But I suggest that Jake Carlisle go and have a look at another tape of Ryan O'Keefe during the week, because he is a left-footed, Jace.
So O'Keefe 10 possessions and a goal. Watson 9 disposals for Essendon.
So that's a win to Sydney at the moment.
Heppel sends them to half forward. Gumbleton finding it hard to actually land a mark, and that's no surprise in these conditions. Total marks 31 to Essendon, 22 to Sydney. The Swans have won 8 of their last 12 games against the Bombers. Of course, the last 3 weeks, Sydney have had a loss, a draw and a win. What a win it was last week at the MCG against Collingwood. Mitchell again, this time smothered. And same treatment for Melksham, who tries to turn his hand to boundary umpiring.
Adam Good still struggling to get in the game, Rosie. Just the 3 possessions, and he's playing mostly as a high forward, and Jake Carlisle's picking him up.
Yeah, I think the high half forwards are going to struggle today, because the ball's sort of not getting chipped around too much. So we've seen that at the other end, the Essendon half forwards struggling also. So it's probably more indicative of the game rather than Adam's sort of current form. We saw him last week, he's absolutely terrific. But it is very difficult for the half forwards to get involved in these conditions, as the ball tends to go over your head a fair bit.
Zaharakis, O'Keefe, prepared to use the right. Pike! Went up. Just a
touch early. I'll tell you what, he's not the sort of bloke you want landing on you either when he does go up early.
Well, he's the #1 contested mark in the competition.
Well, he's the only man I can ever remember to average more contested marks than uncontested marks.
Yep.
He averages 3 contested marks a week and 1 uncontested. He needs to get a few cheapies, Rosie.
It's a good argument when the umpire pings you for an unrealistic attempt if you turn around and say, hang on a minute, mate. I've taken more contested marks in the competition than any other player. Nothing's unrealistic for me.
That's exactly right.
All right, so Essendon have got the ball inside their 50. Can they get the troops in the right position? Still the square vacant. Winderlich, he dashes back there now. Pike dribbled it out of there. Hooker's going to send it straight back into the dangerous spot. Gumbleton, Richards, and the rest.
Still without a possession. Scott Gumbleton. Again, tough conditions for the marking forward. He's got to find a way to have an impact at ground level.
Kennedy, and another ball up looms. Or maybe not. Doesn't seem a lot of interest in getting the ball out of there. McGlynn, Heppel, nice little quick step.
Footwork.
Got it out to Goddard. And it's away from Winderlich, out of bounds on the full. If you've just joined us, there was a late change for Essendon. Howard out and young Will Hams, the 18-year-old recruited from Gippsland. He's a small type. He gets a chance to make his debut for the Bombers.
So here's the switch, and they wanted to release Jetta, but that's just gone straight to Carlisle, who is covering the space.
Yeah, he read that well, Carlo. He was able to look at Parker coming off the bench and then looked at Melcheski. That's a horrible kick.
Oh, tough, as we said, to take those marks. Pike found out again, but no damage. Here's Mumford. Now Jetta. Now the crowd will get involved. He disappoints them by deciding to kick to Bolton. And Myers, good desperation and good awareness of where his teammate was. Jack tries to shut Hibbard down, but he couldn't. Dempsey, the Bombers up to the wing. They've got some numbers here. They're out the back. Stanton gives it plenty. Winderlich will come from one way. Richards from the other. Winderlich was able to keep his feet. He went for the Hail Mary off the ground. And the desperation on display again for the Swans. And Rampy sliding through to take it for a behind. Smith back there, in fact, takes it over the line.
How good was the spoil from Teddy Richards? Running back with the flight of it, just commitment.
It looked like Winderlich was inside 50 completely by himself. It was going to be an easy goal for us, and that's how hard Sydney are prepared to work defensively. The transition is very, very good. And then we also saw Nick Smith getting back to that goal, that ball along the ground, goal square knocking it through. So every ground ball inside, here it is here, great effort.
Jeez, he made up.
Eyes on the ball, good contest.
He actually didn't get a fist on it, but he did enough to cause the spillage.
But what we're seeing is you can see they're outnumbered there. You've got Gumbleton and Cramery versus 4 Swans players. And that's happened continually over and over again.
Zaharakis had a little look around. He knew he was clear enough to get it in there. The pressure mounts on the Sydney defence, and Watson's there. We've seen him kick goals regularly this year, but that one closed
really
out.
Smother.
Nick Smith doing a lot of hard yakka down there for the Swans.
That might have been Richards again with the smother then. He's had it. Look at this.
Yeah, it was too.
That would have been a goal.
Yeah. Very good friends, Joe and Teddy too.
Former schoolmates. And there he goes again, Richards. Out to the wing. Away from Hibbert. Baguley comes through. They're set up again.
Oh, wow, that's lucky.
That is lucky.
A bit rushed, and it got to Dempsey somehow from Carlisle. Now it's Hooker's turn. Jabs it into the pocket. Rampy led his opponent to the ball. Parker used his body effectively. Good work from Comma to make sure that Bird couldn't get clear.
It's 26 inside 50, the Bombers, so they're getting it in there often enough, but they're just outnumbered far too often when they go in. They're only 2 goals behind, so it's going to be a low-scoring game, but you've got to take your chances. McVeigh's the one that's really hurting them. He's up to 16 possessions in the first half.
Bird's kick takes it over the line. There's Josh Kennedy with 13 for the afternoon.
Yeah, David Myers just the 5 who started on Kennedy today.
Well, once again, it's the depth of midfield that is troubling all the other sides with the Swans. They've got a very deep midfield now. McVeigh's a genuine midfield that's playing off a half-back flank.
Hocking, and again the space filled by McVeigh. Handballs to Parker. Carlisle, full command in the air with the spoil. Stanton waited. The best opportunity was Myers, who heaves it deep. Ryder, a chance to run at the ball, which he'll enjoy. Cramery, Winderlich, so close. Jetta, he knew he had to get released at Zaharakis. Cramery again. They're so precious this afternoon. Goals like that. It's a gem. It's through.
Well, that's what's keeping Essendon in the game at the moment. Cramery's kicked 2 goals out of nothing. Just a snap, an instinctive snapshot for goal out of nothing. There's a stoppage. Everyone's been involved. There's 15 players around there. It's a half chance that. He just throws it on the boot. But he's done 2 of those this quarter. And that's been great reward, because otherwise they don't really look like they've got a terrific avenue to goal in terms of scoring goals tonight.
Two kicks, 2 goals for Stuart Cramery. And the margin clipped back to 6 points at the SCG.
And the centre clearance is 6-2, which is always critical at the SCG. But what we're seeing, Jace, is every time the Essendon get their forwards back inside 50 and create equal numbers, they are a genuine chance to score. Now, it's going to be a scrappy score. It's not going to be a mark kick, but that's what they need to do. They need to get back inside their forward 50. They've had enough. They've had 27 entries. And these are the ones that are coming in. Now they've got to get their mids and their half forwards back in to support.
Oh, Ryder flew, and again the moment past Winderlich. He's been almost several times this afternoon. Comma got one in the back. Over the shoulder, the umpire team.
Not sure which player that was against. Was it Melcheski originally, or was it?
I think it was Melcheski.
Just kicking the ball into a really dangerous spot now, the Bombers, and it's really making that defensive outfit for the Swans commit to the contest and be really clean about their method to tackle and to put pressure on the Bombers.
So Comma to level the scores at the SCG.
Oh, boy.
No connection at all there.
That's 30 metres off target. That's a shank.
It was one of those ones he just tried to overkick, wasn't it? He didn't
Heavy ball.
get his natural kicking motion. He tried to kick the cover off it.
Chambers and Mumford with the initial wrestle, and Kennedy takes his turn, and Goddard. Hard labour in there from Parker and O'Keefe. Once again, it's over.
So 28-20, the inside 50s in favour of the Bombers, even though Sydney's had more possession. And kicking efficiency, as you'd expect on a night like this, 48% for Sydney, 52 for Essendon. It's going to be well down.
Swans narrowly ahead in the contested possessions, but not much in it. Comma again for the freak show kick out of the square. Everett back with the flight. And again, you can't count any mark until it's taken in these conditions today.
No, absolutely. But at least, as Kingy said, now they're starting to tackle and pressure inside their forward 50, the Bombers.
From the throw-in, Mumford prepared to tap it down to a teammate, O'Keefe, but there's still danger written all over it. Jetta, though, now
Chase that Goodsy.
he has given it plenty. Hibbard onto it as well, and Hooker knows all about chasing. Buddy Franklin showed him that a couple of years ago.
Oh, well done.
But Hibbard got there, and Goods was, even though he's not having a great night so far, relentless in his effort.
But they're the things that you look where he's come from. He gave them all a start. And he just kept going and then committed to the tackle, and that'll endear him to his teammates as much as any fancy passage of play.
Stanton back to the wing. It's been a good period for Essendon. They haven't been completely rewarded on the scoreboard, but they're pressing again. Zaharakis to half forward. No Mark Cramery. Heppel came charging through. We're down to the last 4.5 minutes. Every kick and handball vital. Swans know it in defence. McVeigh to Rampy. Can they get one on the counter? Essendon have got a lot of the bases covered, so the long kick to half forward. What a gather from Morton under the terrain. Gets it to Mitchell, the sub on early. Kicks perhaps in haste. Hooker doesn't complete the mark. They all go to ground. It's anyone with a chance. Hooker, it's Goods. Can he express himself in front of goal? No.
Oh, boy. You'd normally pencil that in for Adam Goods.
Yeah, I think this just shows nothing's easy. You mentioned before, Hutto. You know, chest marks being dropped all over the place, guys slipping over. The conditions are really, really tough.
It is constantly hosing down. You can see it there.
Bagley takes it.
But at the end of the day, or at the end of the night, Hutto, it'll come down to who makes the most of those half opportunities.
Yeah.
Cranmer's made the most of 2 in this quarter to get Essendon right back in the hunt. They're coming again. Zaharakis, they're surging. Game maybe just breaking open just a fraction. Winderlick, we're getting close to half-time. It is the time in a match sometimes when players are really feeling the heat and the tiredness. It comes away. Heppel off the left. Deep probing ball to the fullest of full forward. Just off hands.
He had a short target there. I think it was it Goddard inside 50 here? He had a short target. All he needed to do was kick a 15-metre kick and it would have been a shot for goal 20 metres out directly in front.
Gumbleton with just the one touch, a handball so far, as Swans are able to come away again through Mumford. Jack came through, gathering well though. Kennedy to Goods. He's got into the frame in the last few minutes. Mitchell, Kieran Jack has been as good as anyone today. It's all about taking your chances. And he took it fully. Maximum result for the Swans.
You know, one of the most difficult things in this game from a school perspective, Rizzy, is to kick the ball accurately when you are running 100% flat stick. And he had to do that, Kieran Jack, because he had to burst between. He gets released by a couple of good hand passes. We see Goods there, and then the inside ball. He's got to squeeze through a couple of them, and he has got a terrific burst of acceleration. And then to finish, that's terrific skill for a bloke. Again, was a late start of the AFL.
Adam Goods has got involved in the last couple, just with a nice tackle, nice handball there. We saw Tom Mitchell get involved also.
Good tick for Tom Mitchell, wasn't it there?
Yeah, nice. Good composure, good hands, nice and clean.
Margin 12. Swans look to come again. Pike, they shuffle it around. McVeigh, how quickly the game can change. It's deep, it's putting Essendon under all sorts of stress. Fletcher's done it again. Kicked it out of the air, confounded everybody. Bagley charging through. There's Swans lining up for a piece of him. Hibbert the next to feel it. Swans circling. Bomber defence know it. Morton gets onto it right near the boundary line. It's hard to find an escape there.
You can understand why they call Dustin Fletcher Inspector Gadget. I mean, he's locked up in a contest here, so he just throws out the left leg and kicks it 25 metres away.
He probably could have got a free kick too. Mitch Morton had both arms wrapped around him.
Pike fends it off. There's a free to Essendon. Everyone stopped. Watson didn't. Up to the wing. Everett will come out. So 2 minutes left. Pretty much where we were at quarter time. Gila, as we've mentioned, quiet, but has had a little bit of influence in this second term with 4 disposals. Bird hacks it into the 50. Oh, marks inside the 50, a rare indeed tonight. Fletcher again goes off the ground. Hibbert, he knew where his teammate was, Stanton. Didn't necessarily make it easy for him though. Mitchell again with the intercept and a nice little deft touch from Kennedy. Allows Bolton to get an extra here to Swan. O'Keefe came back with it. Oh, Bagley's gone to ground. And they've just stayed a step ahead. Or have they? Watson, Carlisle, they're on the brink. And it's over the line one way or another.
Now that's where he was clever, Joe Watson. He didn't panic. He had nothing to go to. He couldn't clear the attacking 50 with the kick, so he just drew the pressure in and took it very close to the point post. New support would come and force the stoppage.
A minute 18 to go. Another goal now for the Swans. Wouldn't that be crucial before the half? But Essendon might be able to get an opportunity, although the high, long kick out of there from Carlisle quickly shut down. And the Swans able to go forward. Mitchell again takes the mark from Smith, sets them up. I don't think he quite got all of the kick, but Goods! He's got it!
Just used the body.
Well, that's the 4th mark inside 50 for both teams, and one team's had 29 inside 50s, the other one's had 26, so 4 marks total inside 50.
I think you're right, Hunter. He didn't strike the kick perfectly, but it went where it was meant to go to. He kicked to the fat side to give Adam Goods a one-on-one contest, and he backed his teammate, and more often than not, Adam Goods will win a one-on-one contest.
So Adam Goods, after the week he's had, just concentrating on what's ahead of him. A vital kick for Adam Goods, and he can sit back and enjoy it. He's put it through, and the Swans lead by 18.
I love the look on Adam Goods' face there, Jace, when he took that mark. It's almost to look over to the umpire and go, can I have this one, or are you going to take this one off me? It was absolutely... I agree. I thought the kick was good. It was to his advantage, as we see Adam here, nice little nudge out. Yeah. And just watch the look over here. Yeah. Oh, we missed it.
Well, I mean, really, that's probably a free kick.
Well, it was 4 weeks ago,
You wouldn't want that paid as a free
kick. But they're the ones we were saying, don't pay those ones. We want them to be paid as marks. Good body work, good mark and good conversion.
So he's come into it in the last 10 minutes or so. 6 disposals and a goal. Suddenly it's 18 points the difference. Pike off the ground. Hibbert came charging through. Bellchambers. The challenge really set down now to Essendon. They've got to find a way of impacting the scoreboard more in the second half. They've been inside 50 3 more times, yet they find themselves 3 goals down at half-time. Jason Dunstall and Paul Roos.
Well, it's just been a little red time burst by Sydney. Just the last 2 or 3 minutes of the second quarter where they went bang, bang and opened up a bit of breathing space, because in these conditions, goals are like goal bruising.
Yeah, look, I know it's 29 inside 50s to Essendon and 26 to Sydney, so it's in Essendon's favour, but certainly for I think Sydney look more dangerous, Hutto. When they go forward, they look far more dangerous and far more likely to score.
Reflected on the scoreboard at half-time. It's the Swans in a low-scoring, grinding encounter, leading by 18 points. We'll check out all the other scores and give you more on the game after the break at the SCG. This big battle between the Swans and the Bombers continue. It's Sydney by 18 points.